following preview has been rated Good Bad by Nico.
And Just Good by Chris.
By the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast. Please check out the full episode when it releases on Wednesday. This summer, are you ready for a group scream? Something so terrifying we have to go to the far ends of Sweden to experience. Midsommar.
It was a fun movie, but yes, no, it's one of those interesting ones because we talked about this when it came early on because this was the early friend activity that we did.
Yeah.
In our young blossoming friendship, is we went and saw this, and I think this was you weren't watching previews anymore. I had seen the preview.
Mm-hmm.
We were both lied to about what this movie was. We both still enjoyed it. But now...
I saw it was folk horror, and that's all it took for me to go.
I also saw folk horror, and I was thinking more Wicker Man. We love a Wicker Man. We've talked about it endlessly. Yep. And so we went, we were excited. We saw something that from the outside vaguely resembled Wicker Man. We thought, wow, that was psychedelic and pretty, and it had elements. And now we have had time to digest it, to really go through it, to enjoy all of the details that were placed in it, and we have come to the conclusion that this is a shit of a folk horror.
Yes. I, on top of that, have had the opportunity to go down a big rabbit hole earlier this year of a shit ton of folk horror films.
Yeah, and once you start comparing it to, either the backbone of the genre, or even some of the more recent ones that have come through, it's really honestly just the shiniest one. Yeah,
well, and not even that. It's a lot of just bullshit that goes on around it that tries to make the world and the cult more interesting than it really is.
Sure, and that's the other thing, is if it had come off, if it had advertised itself more as a cult horror, I think this would have been on the nose as far as what it advertised itself to be. Mm-hmm. The cult parts of this movie were a lot of fun and for the most part pretty accurate.
Yeah, I'm not one of those who rode the bandwagon 100% of Ari Aster's this great genre defying director.
Yeah.
You saw Hereditary when it came out.
I did.
I saw it a little bit later and I thought it was fine, but I wasn't overly impressed with it. Midsommar was definitely a step up.
I agree, it was definitely a step up. And I think part of my original love of Midsommar was I had just come off of having a bunch of debates with people on Hereditary. Some people had really enjoyed it, thought it was really creative and out there, and oh my gosh, this director is going to be the next big thing for horror. And I was like, no, there's too many holes in the plot. There's too much wrong with where it all is going. And I was a little I was excited for Midsommar, so I was excited to see something different. And it is different. It is a different animal than Hereditary, but it has a lot of the same problems.
Yeah, it doesn't feel flushed out. It feels like a good concept, but it doesn't have holes in the way Hellraiser has holes.
Oh, well, it's hard when you're literally got pins in you.
Yeah, someone gets a pin of some kind in them in this one too. But it doesn't have the same interesting rabbit holes that say Hellraiser's well, where the hell did this come from? Where the hell did that come from? Midsommar tries so hard to explain and make the lore feel real without really giving us anything other than oh, this group follows a book. So does a shit ton of other religions. Okay, cool. The prophet came from a mentally challenged inbred child. Can't say that about other religions, but it's got a prophet. It doesn't really stray too far away or make any real headway in that area.
No, and I think part of the difficulty with Midsommar too is looking around at other ones in the genre, and honestly just other horrors in general. The cosmic horror realm is well known for creating their entire world completely, right? Mm-hmm. And this tried, and then it also just randomly would say, no, fuck that, this is all it's all from this thing, or I'm pulling from these things that you should have already known.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, worlds that do pull from other things feel like they have a more fleshed out, thought through process. A lot of Stephen King's works come to mind.
Yeah, well, and I think cosmic horror has a lot of wiggity woogity stuff that they can just kind of ignore. It's very much like sci-fi, where sci-fi can blurt out oh, it's the Plutarchs on Sector 9.
Yes.
But, like, this one, because it's so grounded to Earth, and that's the thing, is, like, folk horror is so grounded to terra firma that you can't really divorce it from that nature without going into the cosmic horror realm.
Yeah, and this one tried very hard to both ground itself and also make up its own stuff. And it couldn't pick which one it wanted, and that kind of hurt it a little bit, because you're stuck not knowing where Easter eggs are and where is just made up gibberish.
Yeah, it's half-assed lore that just gets shoved in to, like, try and make the movie more interesting than it really is, because all it is it's basically a shitty romance story. It's a romantic drama with a folk horror coat, is what it is.
It definitely is. And I think part of the reason we bitch so much about it is there are good details in this. There's some very clever prop placement. There's some very good, costuming put in. There's some amazing cinematography and editing done, especially for the trippy scenes. Those look fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. And so there's promise. There is effort in parts of this that we really enjoyed, and that was what we really remembered, I think, the first time we watched it.
It's got the inklings or the roots of something good, but it just is killed by its attempt to be this art house horror piece that doesn't work.
And we are huge fans of shit movies. That's normally not the problem. The difference between art house and shit for shit's sake is art house takes itself so seriously that when you actually come in with a serious mind and try and also, like, sit at its same level that it says it's trying to be, it doesn't hold water, which is a little disappointing. However, I'm still gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it's like going back to Hodorowski's The Holy Mountain that we just, or sorry, not The Holy Mountain, El Topo, which we covered earlier this year.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so it's just that kind of realm where it's got some interesting bits. It has the starts, but it just didn't know what to do with it all.
Yeah, which is disappointing, because I still enjoyed this movie. I still gave it a good, because I always have a good time. I've seen this movie multiple times, not just for, researching for the podcast. I regularly, like, around Halloween time, this is on the list. This is on my rotation ever since it came out. So I am looking forward to, like, I am hoping that this writer, this director can take the criticisms, can see where he's going. I haven't seen his newest one, so, like, there's some wiggle room there. He definitely heard the criticisms about Hereditary. He wasn't happy about them. But I'm hoping that we can see some growth, because he has some good ideas.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I won't say I'm a hater.
No, but boy, the new reviews of the new one don't look good, do they?
Yeah, no,
But at the same time, we just talked about how if you want to do something very different, you're either going to have to sacrifice getting money for it, or you have to sacrifice reviews. And Midsommar and Hereditary did neither of that. He went all in, hoping that everyone would like it, and also hoping it would be very artsy. You can't have both.
Exactly. It's just subjective bullshit, so.
Unfortunately. Yeah. I'm still going to watch it again, though.
Yeah, we'll see. But, anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird previews.
Check out the full episode.
Peace.